Arcade, welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer podcast. I am Charles, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, aka Captain Permit, aka
El Judío Maravilloso.
You know what that means, don't you?
Yes.
You are literally the first guest who actually knows that. Speaking of Maravilloso, do you know who's Maravilloso? Who's Maravilloso?
Captain Permit.
Captain Permit. 516-513-8838. If you need plans, if you need permits, if you need building department, building, renovation, legalization help, we got you. We're there. And obviously, if you have a house that smells like cat pee, has been dated from the 1960s, has 6 inches of mold on the wall, human waste running past the basement steps, all real, all the time. We might have it today. You never know. I'm low maintenance. I want to buy it. Land, commercial property, you name it. I want to buy it. Give me a call. All cash, ready to go. 123-516-777 sold. All right. We have straight Latin fire on the podcast today. And I'm not talking about Maddie, although Maddie, you are Latin fire in here all day, every day. We originally met at a wedding a few years ago. Actually, no, a year ago almost to the day. And I have been silently, respectfully watching and admiring her business savvy and what she's been doing. She's been creating a movement within a certain group, within the female gender. Very, very, very impressive. Brenda Mendoza.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, what an amazing introduction.
So, you didn't know that I was
No.
I was Latin in another life.
No, it's news to me.
So, I have a confession to make.
Yes.
I have a confession to make. So, I have been admiring you from a distance, and I'm like, you know what? She's on it. She's about her business, right? Especially, when we won't do stereotypes, but like being a woman in business with a family is hard.
Yes.
It's very hard. What you do, so you own the Health Shack. So briefly tell everybody what the Health Shack is and what you do.
So the Health Shack is like a cafe style place where we offer not only nutrition and we try to instill good habits in people, but we also start them, working out. People who most of my clients is women, as you can see.
Yes.
So that is my big thing, to help women who pretty much have never been educated. In my Latino community, we have horrible eating habits and we don't really exercise. Yeah. We get submerged into being a housewife, and that's where your life ends. So my mission is to help people, start feeling good about yourself. And what we do here is we offer all this stuff. We give workouts, we do all kinds of meal plans, and pretty much just educating, making women feel good about themselves again. And I like to say, bringing your sexy back, getting in touch with that sexiness that, exactly, that you lose in transition, with being a mom and kind of the focus on other things, or running jobs, running whatever it is that you got going on. So that's our main focus, is making a community of women that feel good about themselves, feeling sexy and living healthy, most importantly.
So I want to jump back into that later, but I want to kind of bring it back because I want you to kind of talk about your journey, your progression, because there's certain things I don't know just from what you put out there on social media. Yeah. Obviously there's a dramatic before and after picture. Yes. So I'm sure there's a backstory to that. Yes. And then even more impressively, did you go to college or no?
No.
Okay. So even more impressively, were you born here or were you born in El Salvador?
El Salvador.
How long have you been here for?
Oh, I've been here most of my life. I came when I was 6 years old. So I'm 34 now. So pretty much all my life.
So having the guts, the intelligence, and then building and growing a successful business is very, 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 very difficult, regardless of where you come from, what gender, what color, anything.
Right.
So for you to have done that with not really any formal kind of business education is amazing in itself. I'm curious to know how that came about, but please kind of give your background and story.
Oh, sure. Well, for me, it's definitely been an amazing blessing, and this is the company that I work with and what I do. It's amazing because it has really been a stepping stone. It's allowed me to do this without actually having all this background in formal school education or anything like that when it comes to business. So that's why I'm really in love with it. It kind of started just pretty much by me being a mess, me being a hot mess,
in the healthy sense.
In the healthy sense,
it was pernil, arroz con gandules, all the good stuff.
Right, and it was not just the food, but just an overall unhealthy lifestyle I was living. I started bartending really, really young, so that was kind of my first job. So I'm not not new to making money. I know how to make money, but you know, it's just a different, completely different lifestyle.
Okay.
I was 17 years old when I first started bartending, so I started drinking really early, and it kind of, you know, it was like my whole entire lifestyle. So yes, I made money, but I also partied a lot, and pretty much over the years of time before I realized that, like, I had put on like 70 pounds of like beer and alcohol and burgers and anything that you can think about. You know, you get out of work at 4 a.m, you go party some more, and then you sleep all day. You get up at 5 p.m, you go bartend again, and it was like.
Where was this? This is Long Island?
This was in Queens. I used to work in Queens when I was I got a 17-year-old. I got a fake ID, and I started bartending like really early on. And
you got a fake ID to get a job.
Yeah.
So most people get a fake ID obviously to go to bars.
To go party, yeah.
You got a fake ID to go to work.
Right, because my friend who happened to be a manager at a bar, I went there one day and I'm like, oh my God, these girls make a lot of money. So I'm always, you know, trying to see how I can make more money. And they were like, well, you can't work. You're too young. And I'm like, well, I can get a fake ID. And back then, you know, you went to...
You didn't tell them you were going to get a fake ID, right?
No, I didn't tell them that, but I just did it.
Would you get one of those college ID things?
I don't even know how he got it, but he ended up getting an ID from me and somewhere in Queens.
The owner of the place?
The owner of the place.
What?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's Latinos for you. But this is a long time.
Oh, Jesus. All
but
right.
This is a while ago. I mean, you know, things are different. He doesn't do that anymore. But
is he still there?
He's still there.
Wow.
He's still there.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it started for me. You know, working in, I became a hot mess, and I had some issues with, you know, the law where I was like a little. I know you're looking at me. I feel like I'm shattering your image.
You're like a mom, and you're like creating a movement and helping, you know, so many people, and you're like, well, I guess.
Exactly. So you just never know how you can, you know, your background. You can't ever X people out, because the person I used to be is definitely not the person I am today. So when I tell people like what I've been through and how I kind of transition into who I am, it's like night and day.
So what was the tipping point?
Well, the tipping point for me was, as like I told you, I had a few legal issues, and I was literally forced to like take care of like my health. It was like, listen, I was partying a lot, I was drinking a lot, and I got a DWI, and it was like, you either go to rehab or you go to jail. And it was that point in my life where I was like, what am I doing? I was 25 years old, and I was just like, I had like pretty much from 21 to 25, just a fog of like, just, I don't really remember. Everything wasn't clear, you know, it's just a mess. And then in pretty much that time period where you literally have to look inside yourself and work on you and start really digging out like who you are and what you want to do with your life. And I already had a daughter because I had her at 21.
Okay.
So that was a big reason too. Like, you know, someone spoke to me and they're like, do you want to lose your child? Do you want, like, where are you going with your life? What are you doing? Like, this is not who you are. And this was a stranger like that, you know, said this to me, like, just by talking to you for 28 days being in here, like, this is not your future. Oh, this is in the program. This is in the program.
Oh, so you like, it was a go away, sleep away type?
It was yeah.
It was like the real deal.
It was a real deal.
Were you ready to go at that point though?
I was not.
That's interesting.
I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, I was not ready. I was forced. You know, it was.
Like the government said, like, you're gonna go. Wow.
It was either you go to jail or you go to rehab. So you got to choose one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get into like a car accident or something?
No, I didn't. Okay. I just got a DWI, but thank God I never.
I'm surprised that they did that, because usually they just give you like the 6 months or whatever, and they make you go to like.
Well, it was a little longer than that. I got on probation, and I kept violating. Okay. And you know, eventually my PO was like,
listen. Either you do this or like we're gonna have a problem.
Like he came into my house one day at like 8:00 in the morning and gave me a breathalyzer, and I had alcohol levels through the roof.
Wow.
Because I had been partying the night before. It was like I went to bed at 5 a.m.
But you know what? You gotta kind of give it to that guy.
Yeah.
Because for as much as somebody in your position could say like, fuck this guy, like what's the problem? Like that guy cared enough. Exactly. You can't just be like, oh, this is his job. Like that guy does that because he cares enough, and he changed your life.
He totally changed my life. And you know, I was so angry like at my father because he opened the door. I'm like, why would you let him in? Why? You know I was drinking.
maybe there was a reason why.
But it changed my life, and I'm so grateful that happened, you know. Because I probably would have ended up crashing, killing someone or myself, or, maybe I would be in jail. So I'm glad that it turned out that way. And, at that point in time where you're going through things, you don't see it like that. You see it like, why is this happening? Like, it's not that bad. But
the cool thing for me as like a 39-year-old man kind of, experiencing life is I look back on all like the gut-wrenching, horrible, similar type situations in my life. And I'm like, you know what? Those were so important for me because greatness comes after that. Like when you're in this moment of just unbelievable pain, it's like, if you can just get through this, what's going to be on the other side is going to be worth everything you went through. So like now I'm at the point where it's like, I don't welcome that stuff, but when it comes, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I get it. This is good because something's going to come from this and it's a character shaper, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. I always say out of a moment of desperation comes so much inspiration, because you're just desperate to look for something. You just don't know what you're going to look for, and in that moment of, like you said, character building, that's what we call those phases, right? A lot of good stuff. You uncover a lot of things and abilities in yourself and skills that, I had pretty much. So coming out of rehab, going out into the real world now, working, how I'm going to make money. I obviously can't go back to bartending because, obviously I have a problem. No. That's not a good idea. And then if, I had to go outpatient for 2 hours a day, every day, Monday through Friday, which means like, it's still a program. So you're in housing for 30 days and then you come out of the program.
Is it local or are they sending you to like
It's local.
Utah?
It's local.
Okay.
No, it's local. This was in the Hamptons. I was in the Hamptons for 1 month and then I came home and then I had to do a 6-month program, which you have to leave every day for 2 hours. Like what kind of job am I going to be like, hey, listen, I'm leaving for 2 hours. I'll be back.
And you have to pay for it too. So it like gets really expensive.
Well, yeah. My insurance took care of that. Thank God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thank God that it just worked out well for me. And I always feel like there's someone looking out for me or there's a reason to everything that's happening. But my father at the time had a friend who was starting his company as a dispatcher. So he was like, I need somebody in New York because he was moving to Texas. So he's like, if I pay you and I get you a computer and I get you a little setup in your own place, in your house, you don't have to leave. Will you just be looking for, jobs for me? And I was like, absolutely. Like, this is perfect. And I told him the only thing is for 2 hours a day, I can't because I have to do this. So it was perfect. Like I stayed home and that's how I started kind of like working. And he like brushed up on a little skills, gave me little lessons on computers and everything. Cause up until I started bartending at 17. So I dropped out of high school.
I was going to say, did you graduate high school?
No, I dropped out of high school. I started bartending. So I really didn't have like any real background business education at all. And like, I wasn't like computer savvy. So he had to like work with me.
See, I love this kind of stuff because I deal with people all the time that are like, that make excuses about everything, right? Everything. Like, I'm not in real estate because of this. I'm not here because of this reason. They're always like blaming something. So it's like someone that is coming through, what you went through, education wise, everything, like for you to be where you are now and where you're going. It's like, I don't want to hear people's excuses.
Right.
Where does the work ethic come from? Where does the drive come from?
You know what it is? When I started doing this business, like, okay, so I come out and I like cleaning myself up and I have no sense of direction. Like, where am I going, right? Where am I going in my life and anything? When I started taking care of me and I started losing all this weight and then this business opportunity happened. But not just the business opportunity. For me, it was like grasping, like, this is hope. This is like, my life has been so black and ugly and gray and like a fog for so many years, like a mess. Yeah. So this was like hope. This was like a light. So for me, I grabbed onto it like, this is my lifeline. Like, I have to stick to this because there's no judgment here of where I've been, what my background, education, or like, nothing. They're just giving me no one cares what I used to do. They just care that, I've lost 70 pounds and that I can help them do the same. Jesus. Yeah. So for me, it's I started feeling really good. I felt valuable to other people's life. And I think that that's where my worth ethics comes from, where being able to impact other people and have people say like, thank you. You changed my life. Like, I'm so grateful that I met you. That is so rewarding because I was the person that everyone said, you don't want to be like that girl. You want to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to end up like that girl. So to have people look at me and say, oh my God, I admire you. I'm so inspired by you. That fuels me. Like, I feel like I have to live up to that. and more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have
get
to
that.
prove it more because I guess I wasn't that person before.
No, I get it. I mean, again, we don't really know each other, but based on what you've been telling me, I would argue that you had it way before that.
Maybe.
Like, so just the concept of, let's think about this for a second. The average 17-year-old,
Yeah.
what are they doing? They're not going to Queens to get a fake ID to get a job.
This
You know what
is
I mean?
true.
So I don't know if this, it's from your family or whatever it is, but there was definitely like something instilled
Well,
in you.
Absolutely. Actually, you're right. I started working really, really young because my father owns his own company. So when he came to this country, we were immigrants. He didn't have anyone to really help him. So he started doing landscaping, and his employees were my sisters and my mother. So I was working from when I was 10 years old, and my first job was like, cleaning the garden, taking the weeds out. And then eventually I got promoted to like the blower, and I could I could use the blower, and then I could use
Did you had the earmuffs, right?
I had everything.
You were deaf quick with that thing.
Yeah. No, really.
Yeah, I
Me too.
know.
So we were working really hard. I remember like when my summer vacations were, doing 17, 18 houses a day in like 90-degree weather. So I guess that's where my work
that's
ethics
what's
come
up.
from.
Yeah.
My father, we're 4 girls, and we worked with my dad. We did, and then he started getting into construction. So I was the one mixing up the concrete. I had some mean arms because of that. Like all I did was mix cement all day, and then like this was my job, and I am so grateful for that because honestly, that's really what has instilled that work habits in me.
I'm like, there has to be something like, in her family, deep in her past that instilled that.
Everyone in my family works really, really hard, and that's all I've seen my parents, come to this country and pretty much with no money builds something out of nothing and no education.
So tell me about the fitness journey. So you're 70 pounds heavier.
Yep.
And you're like, you get out of rehab, you go through all that, you're like, all right, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
exactly.
There's a ton of people that are out there that are, and this applies to everything. There's a ton of people that there's a ton of people that need to take the first step,
right,
regardless of what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's weight, whether it's career change, whether it's bad relationship, whatever it is. How do you take the first step? What's the first step?
The first step is deciding you're sick and tired of being where you are. Like you have to be so desperately, to get out of that situation. And I don't know if everybody has like a certain something that happens to you, but for me, it was like, it was so silly, but I was walking through the store, and like, I've always felt like, I'm cute, and I'm always like, in school, when we were in school, I had a lot of, guys looking at me, and I disappeared off the face of the earth because obviously I was a mess and I was hiding. And I remember one time like being in the mall, and there was this one girl who me and her were like rivals in high school, and I was like, she cannot see me like this. Like, it was so shameful. And then I'm like, now I think back like that's not why you want to do things, but that was like a little starting point for me where I felt like I can't let people see what I've done to myself. Like, I'm 70 pounds heavier, and I'm like a mess, like definitely not something to be proud of, but it's just, it was a little moment for me, like I can't let this girl see me like this. And then I started talking to people in my family. I'm like, Mom, we need to join a gym, we need to do something. So me, my sister, my mom, a gym was just opening around the block, and I'm like, let's just join. And we did it, and I've never looked back. This was like 8 years later, and I just became
So it was all self-motivated, self-taught.
self-motivated.
And this was what? You went to school where? In Copiague? I know you're...
In Amityville.
Okay. So the gym opened up. Is it that place on Merrick Road? What was it called?
That was Big Al's.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
No, Big Al's was already there but I started
But that's the place.
That's the place, yeah.
Okay.
It was already there. Yeah, but that's where I started, and it just, I never looked back. It just...
No formal training.
No.
How did you know what to do? Because then there's a lot of people who are like, yo, I want to get in shape. For me, I've trained with a bunch of different trainers because I said, like, people go into the gym, and I'm like, going into the gym and not knowing... Today's different because it's easier to find anything online. Mm-hmm. But 20 years ago when I started working out, I'm like, if you don't train with somebody, you're just essentially wasting time and not getting the right results.
Right. And you're so lost. It's so intimidating.
So how did you...
For me, I went to the gym and I got a trainer. That was one. I went through like 5 different trainers because I just didn't like anyone. And it was my mindset, because I had no idea. And I'm new to all this, and I'm like, I want to do this, and I'm very stubborn. I want to do things my way all the time. And, I needed to be educated. I needed to learn how to be coachable and allow other people to teach me. Like,
interesting.
And I wasn't. I'm like, I'm a know-it-all type of person. So I'm like, give me a little bit, and I got it. But like 4 years of training with different people, kickboxing, personal trainers. I mean, I had done any kind of workout that you can think of. I was a part of it. Like I wanted to do it.
Do you think you have an addictive personality?
100%.
Yeah, I have an addictive personality.
100%.
It's part of the reason why I don't drink and do anything like that. But I'm noticing a pattern in you that I know of myself, which is like either I'm doing it 150% or I'm not doing it at all. Right. And for me, I have this kind of divide and conquer thing where, like, I don't know if you know what we do, but we do real estate. So in the last 5 years, we became the biggest fix and flip company on Long Island. So I went from not knowing anything to buying 100 houses a year.
Wow.
So now I'm just like, all right, that's cool. We bought 100 houses. I'm like, now what are we going to do? Because the action's not there anymore. So we have to take it to the next level. So now we're doing commercial development, like big commercial buildings. Are you like that? Do you like get to a point where you're like, I feel like I've mastered it. I need a new challenge?
100%.
Yeah.
That is me. And like you said, I was just going to say I have such an addictive personality. So I'm constantly just replacing addictions. Like,
yeah.
So like, I just have to make sure I stay in the healthy side because that's how I am. I'm like, I can't do this because I know me. I'll probably like it. I'll probably stick to it and I'm not going to do it. No. So I like to stay to the healthy side, of things. But definitely I start something and I want to master it. I want to be the best at it. I'm so competitive. So I'm like, I got to be the best at this. And then I want to move on to bigger things.
Interesting. So you start working out, you start getting into unbelievable shape. And then where does the studio come in?
So what happened was I started working out or whatever. And a lot of people were like, I want to train with you. I want to train with you. And me and my girlfriend, we were like, you know what? Let's train with people. And she's like, oh, I don't like training with people. She's so my partner. She's so antisocial. So she's like, I don't want to train with people, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, she went on to lose 90 pounds. So I helped her lose 90 pounds. Wow. She has one of the most impressive transformations.
So you were already in sick shape. You were on your way or there.
I was already in shape. And then
she's like, can you help me?
Yes. She walks in and like you, she goes, I've been following you for a month.
Did you know her or no?
I didn't know her. I didn't know her at all.
She walked into the gym?
She walked into the nutrition club, right? So we had another nutrition club. This is the second nutrition club we have. So we have this.
This is before the Shack.
This is before the Shack.
Okay,
this is when my first early days, like when I first started, and this business came about so fast that I was like literally unprepared for what was coming. It was happening so fast. I had this crazy results, and a lot of people started asking. So I started, this movement. I opened up a nutrition club by myself at the time, and I was like 25 years old. I'm sorry, and it was just me working this thing and.
It was a business, or it was just like a group to bring people together?
It was like a group of bringing people together, but it was like the same thing as the nutrition club, just not as nice as the one we have now. It was like a little space that I rented, and it had just literally like 2 chairs.
Oh, so people worked out there.
People worked out there.
Okay, I thought it was like health, nutrition.
No, people just worked out there. We did like Zumba, we did all kind of stuff like that, and that's where I did like Insanity. So I would have this big projector, and people would come at 6 a.m, and we had like a crew of like 20 people, like 6 o'clock in the morning, just following Insanity, right? And we did this. So she came in and she's like, I've been watching you for 2 weeks, and I think that you're the one, you're gonna help me. And I'm like, let's do it. So we start working. She loses 90 pounds.
What the fuck?
Yes. And then I'm like,
how long?
In about a year and a half. About a year she lost. Yeah.
That is dedication.
She was so dedicated. She would come in. She wouldn't even speak to anyone. She had headphones. We had music blasting, and she still wanted to hear her own music. Like, she was in the zone. But she was focused. And then, from we became friends, and I'm always like, there's a business opportunity here. There's a business opportunity. She wasn't really doing anything, but like she worked at a deli, and I'm like, what are you gonna do with your life? The same thing that I had happened to me. I was like, well, what are you gonna do with your life? What are you gonna do? Like, we're getting older. Like, you need a back. Like, you need something to fall back on. You're not gonna work in this deli forever. So I'm like, you have one of the best transformations. Let's do something. Let's put your picture up on social media. For just for let's see what happens.
Shits and giggles, yeah.
Yeah,
see what happens.
Let's see what happens. And she goes, fine. So we put it up. In 30 minutes, she had 30 clients. She like literally her phone was blowing up. So people were like, I want to work out with you guys. So we cleaned up her garage, right? And we like power wash her garage. We clean it up, and we start training people in the garage. Because at this point, like, this was me and her were friends for like 5 years now.
Okay.
So at this point, she's like, we trust each other, and she's like, let's do this. Let's work here, and we're bringing people to her house.
Yeah.
Like her kids are in the house, and then we're in there like strangers that we don't even know. We're training them in the garage, and eventually they're like, "What are you guys gonna do when it gets cold? What are you guys gonna do when it gets cold?" And we're like, "I don't know. What are we gonna do?" And then we start looking for a place, and like it just happened. So we drive by, I saw the number, I'm like, let's just call it, let's just do it. Like, we have momentum, we have the right energy right now, we can't just cool off. So she was scared, and I was scared, because this would be my second club that I opened up. And the first one, like I said, it came so fast, it happened so fast, I didn't even know how to like sustain it.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, even if you go to college, whatever, like nobody teaches you how to do this stuff. They don't prepare you for this. Nobody does.
And this is a business where you deal with people. So you have to deal with people's lives as well. It's not just your own. Like, shit's happening to you, but then shit's happening to your clients too. So, you have to constantly be aware that people are changing and life is, happening to everybody. So things can happen. And, a lot of things happen. And in this point in time when we had the first club, I started feeling really egotistical. Like, really, my head got a little big. So yeah, really big. So I was like, oh, look what I've done. Look what I've created, and really fast, I got really cocky, and I'm like, you know what? I think I can celebrate with a drink. And I started again, little by little. After I had a few years of not partying and drinking, and like I started thinking like, yeah, I dealt with this, I'm good. In 6 months, I was back to binge drinking, and I had to close my nutrition club because I could no longer go and I couldn't sustain it anymore. I was faking it hard, and it was very hard to fake. So I had to literally go through the whole process again, check myself into rehab.
Wow.
Yes.
Holy shit.
That you didn't know, right?
I wasn't expecting that.
Exactly. Not a lot of people know that. That was like a little part that I kept out, because I'm already in business, and to try to keep that people to continue to
but you know what?
Respect me in a way.
You know what I think people respect is I think they respect realism.
Right.
And people see through bullshit. Like, especially like on Instagram, on here, and everything's so smoke and mirrors, like that's real. The fall, the rise, the like world being like, you think you're all that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you in check quick. To fall to then the more mature version rising again and continuing to rise.
Exactly.
Is a very powerful, very real thing. But like, I mean, everything you just said is amazing, because it's like that's down. People are like, oh, I don't have money to start a business. I don't have this. Like, that's down and dirty in a garage, street hustle. Like, that's what it takes. That's where these things start. It doesn't start from like, a loan from your parents where you go and do this elaborate thing. It starts in the street.
Yeah. In the street, getting your hands dirty, like crying, like literally, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this again? And like you said, it's good that you say that. Like, a more mature version of myself now, like I have no shame in telling people I fell down. Like I've had hard times. I've picked myself up, and to have to tell the world, like, I'm not ashamed of it. It's just, it happens. I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm never trying to be anything than real.
But it takes a certain level, and this develops, because I always say, I'm like, one of my greatest attributes is, at this point in my life, I don't give a shit what the world thinks of me. Like I always say, society has no hold on me. So I don't care what I say, what you think of me, like, that's it. But it's a process to get there. None of us were born like that. I don't care. For me, it probably happened in my late 20s, about 30. So, for you to go through that, and for you to be so secure in who you are at this point, it says a lot, and it's a tough journey.
Thank you. I 100% agree. Like, it takes a process. It's not like you're just like, oh, guess what? It took me a long time. I didn't even want to tell people like that I had went through what I went through. I was like, no, we can't say this in front of my clients. Like, what are they going to think about me? And then I realized that, like you said, people connect to real people. Yeah. They want to connect to you because they want to know that you give them hope. Like, if I was able to do something like this and still, build something, let it go, like pretty much like crash it myself, destroy it with my own hands, and rebuild it again from scratch, then why can't you do it? Like, there is no excuse.
You know what the interesting thing is? I feel like you telling people those things elevates your business. I'll give you an example. I had, and all those, being honest about those really like gut-wrenching moments. So I was sort of married once. So I had a wedding, and then like basically the week after the wedding, my wife was like, or sort of wife was like, I don't want to do this. That's it.
Wow.
Gone, right? So I was a mess because I was with her for 7 years and I didn't see any of it coming. And I remember just being like, at the time I had this office in this like roach infested basement, and I had this was the second year, so I had done, what is it, I think it was July 28th where she's like, that's it. And I had bought like 10 houses at that point during that year, and I was there, I was like, what the hell went on? And I got a call from a guy that I do a lot of business with now, and I'm like, dude, I got to tell you what happened. I didn't really know him, and I told him what happened. And he's not a very emotional guy, but he's like one of my best friends today. And he's like, don't worry, man. We're going to get you some houses. And in the next 5 months, I bought 30 houses. Wow. So, and then I'm a talker, obviously. Yeah. So I would share it with people. I would share the experience with people because I had so much pain. That I was like, I have to get it out. Like there's so much pain here. I have to keep talking until eventually one day it's gone. Yes. And by sharing that with people, it helped create such an amazing bond with so many people that then elevated me and everybody else around you. Because when you start talking to people about your shit, all of a sudden their shit comes out. Sometimes you're like, you know what? I'll keep my shit. You keep your shit when you find out things. Yeah. But you realize that everybody has shit. You know, that Instagram family that looks amazing hates each other in their house. So that's why I think it's so important to share things like what you went through for so many different reasons. It gives people hope, like you said. It makes you relatable and identifiable. It elevates your business, and it could change people's lives.
It really can. And now that I talk to people, and like you said, it's a process, and the more I talk about it, it just comes out so easy. And I remember first sharing that, like my voice would break. Like I felt my ears heat up. Like my body temperature just starts sweating. Like I did not want to say it. I didn't want to get uncomfortable. But a lot of, growth happens when you're uncomfortable. That's the only time that we're evolving is when we're uncomfortable. When we're complacent in where we are, nothing happens great. Nothing. Like
Breach.
You're just standing still, and eventually you just like disappear into the thin air. But when you stay growing and uncomfortable, you're constantly learning, and you're brushing up. I always say like you're sharpening up your skills. Yeah. And like I can talk too. This is what I do. I can talk. So I started talking too, and I was just telling people, and things, when I shared things like that to people, it made people like, really? Like, really? This was going on all this time I've been watching you? I'm like, yeah. And this is what I've been hiding, like behind closed doors. Like all of this is, you're not the only one. Like you're not the only one going through stuff. And then when you say that, like, and maybe your shit is a little worse than theirs, it gives them a little like, well, I'm not that bad then, a sense of hope. So definitely talking about it, like you said, talking about it just made it so much more powerful for me. And easier to speak about, and I wasn't shaking anymore. I'm like, wow, I can tell the story. And just the other day, I stayed in my nutrition club with new clients. I'm like, I haven't talked to you guys for a while. Like, it's so busy now that I don't have a lot of time to sit down with people and actually bond with them, which I love to do. That's I like to create that bond with people, relationship. And I like to know their background, like what they're looking for, what are their goals. Like, I really want to hear what they want so I can help them get there, Yeah. And we're sitting there talking. The club is closed like for 2 hours now. It's like almost midnight. And
nobody wants to go home.
Nobody wants to go home, and it's me and these girls, and we're just talking, and she's crying, and she's telling me everything, and like I told her my story. She's like, wow, I had no clue. Like, I've been watching you for years, and like I had no idea. And I'm like, this is why it's so important to be honest now. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna have no more filter. People need to know, because they look at me and they don't realize like what I was just there. It wasn't even that long ago. It wasn't like 10 years ago. This is like 4 years ago.
4 years ago. It's interesting because, like, when you really look at it, and I think it's important for business people to understand this, like, on the surface, it's like, I own a fitness studio, right? But it's not. It's a community. It's hope. It's therapy. It's the actual, function of working out. It's nutrition. Like, I've seen videos of you guys, like, you have that screen that comes down, and you guys are, like, teaching. It's basically, like, it's a comprehensive lifestyle change.
100%.
It's not a Band-Aid, it's total commitment.
Total commitment. It's exactly what you said. 100% change your lifestyle.
And you seem to have like a big following of people that people don't like. The fitness world especially is very fatty. It's like one day this, one day that, whatever. You have a group of people that are like ride or die, dedicated to like the cause, the commitment of getting it done. And I guess that speaks to the environment that you created and then the services that you offer.
Right.
It's just interesting because you didn't have any training. You don't know this. You just innately know this, and you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's the crazy part.
I guess that's more. I mean, obviously you grew up. You have entrepreneurial genes. You saw your father, but I guess a lot of it is also just like, I think people skills is probably the most important part of life.
Yes.
Like I worked at a 7-Eleven when I was 16 to 21, and I would deal with hundreds of people, and I think that was probably one of the most important job I ever had.
Right.
Because it teaches you those interpersonal skills. Like, how do you create a bond with somebody in the 30 seconds it takes for you to sell them milk,
right?
And then that's so relatable to the rest of your life. I'm curious to know, like one piece of advice you would give somebody who wants to get in business. Like, what do you think is the most important thing for somebody to know in business or who wants to get into business?
I feel that the most important thing is you need to have clarity of what you want and what you're trying to do. Like in any business, you need to know exactly.
Or life, really.
Or life, yeah, really, in life in general. You need to have confidence in yourself, one. Not doubt yourself, because we are the first ones to X ourselves out. Any idea, no, I can't. The fear of failure, you have to like completely lose that.
But it's still there. You feel it.
Oh, you feel it.
Yeah.
Every day you feel it. Like, coming here, I was like, I'm a little afraid. Like, this is my first one. But, again, being uncomfortable, that's where everything starts, brewing for you. But definitely have clarity of what you want to do and confidence in yourself and your abilities that you can do it. Like, if you're not your own best cheerleader, if you're not rooting for yourself, if you're not out here looking at yourself in the mirror, like, I got this, then it's very hard for other people to believe that if you don't have that belief in yourself, and you need to have that confidence, because that's where credibility comes in. People will have credibility and they will have confidence in you if you have confidence in yourself. But if you're looking like you're a little, like, you can be a hot mess inside and you can definitely have doubts, but on the outside, you have to be able to hold it together. And to me, I feel like that's a big deal, like being also, type of influential person and like a leader where I'm helping people, leading them into a lifestyle that they have no clue about, and we're going pretty much based on what my direction. And, like, again, it's not like I'm a professional, really. I'm just going with life, and I can go based on my experiences and what has helped me. And that's all I can do is share my story with people, and through that, give them hope. But definitely have clarity and confidence in, what you want.
Nugget. Got it? Cool. I'll explain that after. So, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I want to touch on based on that. So, I want to talk about your partner, right? The relationship with your partner, in the sense that I've never had a partner because I think it's very difficult. I think a partnership is kind of like a marriage. So, and I think a lot of people take on partners for the wrong reason. Typically, it's like a financial thing, or they just don't want to take the leap on their own. Whereas, like, you really need to partner with somebody that has, like, you have certain strengths, they have certain strengths, you have certain flaws, they have certain flaws. When they mix together to be perfect, that's when like a perfect partnership arrangement happens. But it's like a marriage. So if you're making business decisions, it's the two of you guys. So I'm just kind of curious to know, like, just your feedback, what that, experience, relationship is like, etc.
It's definitely challenging, I will say. But, I've learned through the years, and coming around, like, being around so many people come and go in this business, because, like you said, it's really fatty. Like, people are like getting in, then they drop out, they get back, and it's like a phase for them. It's not like, not everybody commits 100%. And my partner is so easy to work with, because she's just so laid back, and I'm really the one that's like, she lets me lead, which I really respect that, because she's also a leader, and she's also a really strong-minded individual. And the fact that she allows me to make certain decisions, that's a big deal to me, because
That's interesting.
That's, we're women too, we're catty. We're like, we want to be on top of you. That's just how we are. So I feel like the fact that she allows me to take a lot of decisions where she's like, you know best. You know best. Like,
wow.
I really respect her for that. But we complement each other so well. I talk so much, she doesn't talk at all. You know what I mean? But
you probably know what she's thinking anyway at this point.
Definitely. But people, like, they love her too, because we're good at what we do. We want to make sure that our goal is to get you to whatever you told us that you want. That's what we take it personal, and like, we take such pride. We look at these women. I feel like this is like my babies. Like, we're like a military of sexy, sassy, confident women, and it's like, it's a beautiful thing to watch. Like, I see these women transform, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. Like, they're just walking in there with their head up, like, feeling good. And I'm like, it's all right to feel like that. And that's what me and her instill in other people. And she's very she's like the epitome of that, because she was really, and I don't want to talk too much about her story, because maybe one day you'll hear her, but she had like a really bad background where she was in an abusive relationship, and she was really overweight, so she had a man constantly shatter her, and she came, and you could tell she was like, her head was always broken, like a broken soul. And now you see this strong woman, and it's so attractive. Like, other women are like, I want that. Like, I want, even though she doesn't really say much. She doesn't have to say much. She just walks in a room, and she's just very, like, she demands your attention, and she never even speaks. It's crazy.
Are there, I'm not, as much as I say I was Spanish in a past life, and I feel like, sometimes I feel like a man that's like caught between different nationalities. I'm like, I don't like, I'm not white, but I'm not Spanish enough, but like, I'm not black enough. Like, where am I? I'm a man stuck between, every nationality out there. You cater primarily to the Latino community.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, there's just so much there, in the sense that, like you were saying, typically the diet and the health is not there. A lot of fried food, etc. Mm-hmm. And it seems to be, and I might be wrong, a lot of immigrant women that were not born here. Mm-hmm. Is there, it's on Long Island, is there a lot of that? I haven't, it's really a movement.
It's a lot, yeah.
Meaning, like, you're one of the only places that I've seen, and maybe I don't know of it, that are doing what you do within the community and really elevating people. I might be wrong, because I haven't seen it, but can you speak to that? Is that really the case? Are you guys kind of on the forefront of that?
I want to say that out here, maybe in Long Island, but it's all it's happening everywhere. Like, and it's huge. People are just rising up and like literally locking arms together and like building this strong community in people, and especially for me, like in the Latino community, because us Latin women, we were raised to pretty much, you're the last one on your list. Everyone comes before you, and especially you cater to your husband, and you just, everything revolves around being a good housewife, and like, that's like most of like our goal. Like, you want to get married, you want to have children.
That's the hard wiring. That's like and that's
it.
I don't think people understand, like, that's generations of hard wiring.
Yeah.
It's not easy to break that.
100%. And like, that's one of the biggest challenges. Getting people to lose weight and feel good, and that's easy. Right?
That's the surface.
But that's the surface part, right?
It's so much deeper than that.
So much deeper than that. Because then once you start feeling like I said, you start feeling like you can be worth like a lot more than what you feel. You could do more than just be a mom, and you can also be valuable in the marketplace. You might have skills that you don't even know, like good work ethic skills that most people that went to school and college, they might not even have that. That's not something that's taught. That's not something that you learn throughout. Like, this just comes in you. Mm-hmm. Like, it just instilled in you from the moment you're young. And Latin women, we're like taught to work like at home, work hard, no pay, take care of your man, be a good wife, be a good mom, and that's it. So to let my women know, like, you can be so much more than that, and you can still be a kicking ass boss mom, and you can still be a hot wife, and you can still take care of everything, but you have to put yourself in the center. And the good thing is, like, by taking care of you, you're able to inspire other people and then make a living off of it. It's like a win-win-win. Like,
and your family flourishes as a result of that,
right?
Financially, spiritually, etc.
Everything, yeah.
Because there's that energy, there's that vibe that just like I always talk about, like, you know, you're doing the right thing, you help people, you create this ball of energy that like gets momentum, and it becomes this unstoppable, powerful, positive force.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about your marketing.
Okay.
Right, and I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
So I have been, again, following you for like the last year. And my hardwiring, I'm like, yo, she's doing it. She's out there. She's hustling. I'm like, she's getting a lot more clients. Like, this is dope. Yeah. But at the same time, your marketing is very provocative, right? And my hardwiring was like, I was judging you a little bit.
Yes.
And then, this is when I was like, I have to have you on the podcast. It was like maybe like 2 weeks ago. You posted a video. It was an IG live. You're like, this is my first IG live.
Yeah.
And you're like, people have been like saying this and saying that. And I sat there and I watched the whole thing and I said to myself, I'm a dick. and it's a double standard and I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. And this is why I said that, because I have a buddy, one of my best friends, his name is Val. He owns a company called Udar Kickboxing out of Long Beach. Mm-hmm. He was originally Canon Kickboxing, then he was in I Love Kickboxing.
Oh, cool.
So, and he has a fight school, etc. And you know what I say to him every day? Like, for years. I'm like, Val, you're selling sex and lifestyle, bro. Get fucking ripped, take your goddamn shirt off, have girls want to have sex with you, and sell it on social media. That's what you got to do, right? And I'm like, how can I tell him to do that and then internally judge a woman for doing that? And then I was like, you know what? She's fucking right. She kicks ass. I have to, that's my generations of male hardwiring. Mm-hmm. So you go out there, you do your thing, you get it done. You're changing people's lives.
Yeah. And I'm so happy that you say this. Is so funny because I was so, like, I did not want to do that video. And I'm like...
No, that shit was dope.
Men
needed to see... Women didn't need to see that video. Men needed to see that video.
Because it's more judgmental on the male side. Like you said, it's double standards. Easily, you can tell. But for me, I was like, I was talking to my girlfriend and she's like, Brenda, you need to do a video. And because she's like, people are always like, I'm confused by her. Like, I don't know what message she's trying to send. Like, she's out here inspiring me and I feel good. And one day she's praising God and the next minute she's over here. And the next minute she's in her underwear. Like, I'm confused. I don't know what to think of her. So I'm like, well, what are you confused about? Like, I don't understand. I'm very confident in what I look. I like the way I look, and I feel sexy, and I don't see why I can't portray that. Like, what I'm trying to showcase my fitness journey. So I'm only showing you, my physical stuff, but what I believe internally and the connection I have with whatever, my source that's mine. It has nothing to do with what I look like. But, I'm like, I'm going to give people a little bit of clarity. Like, I'm just going to make this video. And I did that. And I was so happy that I did that video because I got so much feedback from it. And a lot of people were like, wow, I'm so happy you did this because I was judging you.
Did you get any or a lot of male feedback?
I did get a lot of male feedback. And then most of the guys were like, I don't know if they were just saying that to me, but they were like, who cares what people think? You're awesome. You're great. Like, I never thought like that. A lot of females also there, a lot of females hit me up and said,
there's a lot of catty hate in the world too. They're like, yo, this girl looks good. Why don't I look like that? But they don't want to put the work in. So they're literally hating on the down low.
Right. But a lot of my followers, they're like, I'm so happy you said this. I feel like I let myself go. I want to get back to that sex. A lot of women were like, I stopped following sexy girls because my husband has cheated on me. I feel insecure. Like, all their own shit, all their own personal shit has nothing to do with me. But I arise that in them when they see that. And I'm like, well, why can't you have confident? Like, you're not putting yourself out there in another way. Like, you're still respectful. And that's why I said my husband knows that I put these pictures up. My children know. Like, I'm not ashamed because I'm not really, I don't feel like they're that explicit, but they are provocative. They are sexy. And I'm showing you my body. That's what I'm trying to show you. That's the point. But at one point, I was not that person. At one point, I was really, I was ashamed of myself. I was hiding. I didn't even want my high school friends to see me. I would never stand in front of a camera and let you see my body. Like, I would never do that. I wouldn't even, and this is a little personal, but I wouldn't even want to be intimate in the light like that. That's how ugly I felt. That's how unworthy I felt. That's how undesirable I felt. So I'm completely a different person, and I want to show that to people, you know, and like, not like look at my body, but it's just like the way my body looks is just a little, it's kind of showing you how mentally I'm strong, how mentally I can be able to do this. And like, it takes dedication and hard work to look like this every single day. I have to choose this lifestyle. I could choose what I used to be like, you know, and so I'm choosing every day to live my life like this. And to lose weight again, it's easy, but to commit to this lifestyle forever, it's hard. It's like, this is what you want to do?
Yeah.
This is what you got to do. Then, you know, it's like, so by me showing you like little progress, look, oh, I got, you know, my 6-pack back, or I got, you know, I gained some weight, I lost some weight, like I travel a lot, but I'm just trying to show you that you can constantly continue to better yourself and feel good about your body. Especially women, like, we're allowed to be sexy and we're allowed to be confident that we're sexy. That doesn't make us any less respectful, you know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like
Maddie, mark that time. No, it's interesting because when you're saying that, I'm thinking, again, surface. Like, people don't, it's a weird example, but I'll say, like, I'll meet a buddy's girlfriend and I'll start talking to her. And she'll be like, oh, I did this and I traveled here. And I'm like, oh, did you know she traveled here or went to school here? And he's like, I didn't know. I'm like, what do you mean? You've been dating her for a year. So what I'm saying is, people don't ask. They don't really look in. Everything is so surface. So it's like, you look at Instagram and you'll see like somebody be like, oh, they're so happy. That's really surface. The reverse on your end is like, you'll look at something quick and be like, oh, that's a provocative picture. But like, that's surface. When you get in deep, it's what you just said.
right.
It's so much more than that. I want to close out with what's the future? Like, what's the future of the Shack? What's your future? Where do you see this going in the next 3, 5, 10, 100 years?
Oh my gosh. Like, I think we're just getting started. I feel like we have amazing momentum right now, but it's not only on momentum. Like, right now, I'm really just trying to become more of a business minded person, more and more, like learn more and like infiltrate a system that everybody else under me, you know, new people or clients, or especially women, like they can see that they can do this too. Like, I really want to create something that give people an opportunity to be, you know, out in the marketplace, not just like, okay, feel good about yourself, but actually bring money in your household and still be at home around your kids. Like, financial freedom is something that not a lot of people understand. No. Because we have a lot of like, we're used to being like an employee mindset, and you just, you know, just want to get your check and that's it. Like, it's a security. So being able to give other women the opportunity to have the same financial freedom, travel around the world, like sustain your household, be a mom, be a wife, and live your dreams and, you know, make money. Like, that's a huge thing for me. I have so many women that are like, if I can only make $1,000 a month, like, I'm like, that's it. Yeah. But like, you know, when you hear that you just, it's really like an eye opener. Like, so many people need this. Like, they need this opportunity. They need to know that you don't necessarily have to go the old school way. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to. I'm not saying not to do it, but I'm saying not necessarily the traditional way. There's so many different ways that we can, you know, bring ourselves to the marketplace and bring a lot of value. So our goal is to like expand rapidly. Like, one of my big goals is to have a recovery home for women where, you know, we, like, in my perfect world, this is how I envision it, this house where women come and we teach them like real life skills and, you know, put them out in the workplace and show them if they've never had a job, like, are you good at cleaning? Well, maybe we can start a cleaning company. Like, what are you good at? Like, do you like to do hair? Maybe we can start, you know, give them entrepreneur leadership skills that they can, you know, really put out in the world. And that's like, that's my goal, like to have a house for women and, you know, and not just for women, just in general, but my thing is girls, like, that's which is cool, yeah. But, you know, men too, they're welcome. I have nothing against guys, but I'm more like with the ladies, and it's really weird because I was not like that my whole life. So that's a big deal to me, like instilling that good relationship with my females.
Awesome. Well, listen, you're awesome. You rock. You're an inspiration. I'm so proud of you. Like, what you've achieved is amazing, and I'm sure you know that.
Thank you.
But still, if people want to get in touch with you, want to find you on social media, want to check out what you're doing at the Shack, what's the best way to do it? Like,
They could definitely go on my Instagram page, which is Brenyani. And then
spell that out so people
it's
get it.
BRENYANI, Brenyani. And then you can follow the page. Also, we're right on Wantagh Highway in Copiague. So 1001 Wantagh Highway, Copiague. So you could definitely check us out there. Definitely the best way to get in touch with me is like shoot me a DM. That's social media is like really easy. So I will definitely always respond to anybody that, wants to help.
So ladies, if you're out there, if you're not happy exactly with the way you look, if you need a change in your life, you have no more excuses. You have it here. And if you have a house that smells like cat pee, has been dated from the 1960s, or has 6 inches of mold on the wall, you have no excuses either. 516-777-SOLD. That's a wrap.
That's awesome.
Orgulloso estoy de mi herencia judía. Benjamín Ben Shlomo, cuando me llaman a la torre, así me llamo yo.